everyone, welcome to my Flosstube channel, Thread the Needle. My name is Vani and I am in Newfoundland, Canada. Thank you so much for joining me here for my next episode in my Flosstube, where I discuss my just my love and joy of full coverage cross stitch. We're here for my bi-weekly update, and I have some works in progress to share with you, and some updates on my stitching and updates on my plans this next couple of weeks. So let's dive right in. Let's start with the works in progress that I've been working on the last couple of weeks. As you know, I have a rotation that I go through with all my pieces, and I have an app really that chooses for me because there's just too many to choose from, and it lets me know which one I'm going to be stitching on, and then I will work on that piece for a few hundred stitches at a time before I spin the wheel again and go on to the next one. So the first project that came my way was, let's see, I have to check my notes because if I don't, then I won't remember anything. So the first one that came up to work on was Mini Avarice. So let's pull that one out. And here it is. So Mini Avarice is such a really fun piece to stitch on. Still, it's not a lot of difference in colors, but I mean, I knew that when I picked it because that's what this whole project series is like. It's going to be basically one shade of color throughout the whole project, and this one happens to be yellows. So here it is. This is Mini Avarice, and I'm really happy with the progress I'm making. I can't wait until I get to the actual lady in the picture, but it's just so much fun along the way, and making really good progress in the border, in the halo section where the diamonds are, and it's just a fun, joyful stitch. I really enjoy it. That's Mini Avarice. I managed to get 767 stitches in here, and surprisingly, it must have been a quiet weekend or a quiet night that day, or those days that I worked on it, but I did that in about 3.5 hours. So that's pretty good. I'm actually really happy with the progress on that one. Okay, moving on. Next, we have one of my favorites. It's Sleepy Owlet. This was one of the first mystery sal that I did from the Cross Stitch Studio, and of course I didn't finish it on time. I never finish any of my mystery sals on time. We know that's a lost cause, but I still enjoy the journey and just the fun of being a part of the mystery. Even though I know what it is, not by what I'm stitching, but by seeing what others are stitching. I don't know what it is. It's still very fun for me, and this one especially. Every time I pick it up, it just brings me so much joy, and it's such a fun stitch. So here is my Sleepy Owlet. He makes me so happy. I don't know what it is. He's adorable. And we got it to fill in more of that diagonal, and then moving on into the next. And just to give you a quicker, bigger picture of it all, this is how much we've gotten done so far. And then we've got the log at the bottom. So he's coming along. I think once I get closer to the edge here, I might pop up to this top corner and finish that off, and so the top row will be done. But always a favorite to work on. He's going to be so adorable. Yeah, that's a really fun piece. So I got 461 stitches done on my Sleepy Owlet, and that took me about 4 hours to do that amount of stitches on him. I spent 4 hours. Next up, we have Dragon Charmer. Dragon Charmer, I'm actually really happy with the progress I made. I'm actually getting into, I think it's the wing of the dragon. So here, I'm going to fold this side here too. So this is where I am. I'm going to see if that can focus a bit better. So this is where I am. And so this is the shape of the wing of the dragon, I believe. And it's starting to come along really nicely. I'm almost finished this page, and then I'll move on into my regular diagonal fashion of stitching. So this I was able to put in 425 stitches, and I spent about 2.5 hours on this project before I moved on. Next up is another mystery Sal from the Cross Stitch Studio. This was last year's. Yes. Last year's mystery Sal. And that turned out to be Mechanical Seahorse. And I'm still in a sea of blue. Pun intended or not, I don't know. But I'm getting there. I'm making progress. So here is the page that I was working on. So a sea of blue, but it's still lovely. And this is the full part of what I've got done so far. So it is a lot of fun. Not. It's just a lot of blue. And light blues on blue on blue. So I did how many? 500 stitches on that. And that took me, how long did I spend on it? I spent about 4 hours on this one. So good work there, but I'm waiting to get into some interesting stuff on that one. It's just a lot of blue. And then the last one that I worked on in the last couple of weeks was one of my favorites. It's the mini opening night. That's the ballet dancer. And I didn't get to work too much on it. I only spent about 2 hours on it, and I got 241 stitches in. And this is where I am. So I got into another diagonal. I think if I do one more diagonal, I think her head starts to come here. So I'm really looking forward to that. But this is such an easy, calming stitch. Just the colors and the pattern that the gradation or of the color palette is coming out is really, really lovely. Yeah, I like working on this one. It's very, like I said, it's just a calm piece. I don't know if it's the colors or the pattern itself. It's just really fun to stitch. Now, before we move on to my focus piece, I thought I would just give you a little quick stitching life update. I was able to actually spend an afternoon stitching with my local stitching buddies. And so that's all, not all, some of us who live locally who cross stitch were able to get together for an afternoon of friendship, cross stitching, and it was just really, really nice to see everybody, because we actually kind of discovered each other just over the last few years. And we had started to meet as a group before COVID happened. And then, of course, COVID happened, and we tried to do the online thing, and we were able to a couple of times, but it was just difficult, and people were in different times in their life and dealing with COVID and dealing with, you know, all the challenges that came with it. It wasn't conducive to a very good, you know, way for us to get together. And so finally, somehow it all came together, and we were able to spend an afternoon this past weekend together. It was just fun. Just like, gosh, I think it was like 4 or 5 hours together of just sitting and stitching and laughing and spending time with each other and sharing stories about our cross stitch, asking each other about cross stitch. It was really nice to be around people who cross stitch. I know a lot of knitters and crocheters and other crafters, but and all these ladies also do multiple other crafts, but it's really nice to sit next to someone and talk about cross stitch, and they know exactly what you're talking about. It's just wonderful. So thank you, ladies, and I can't wait to do it again. We're planning to do it again next month. We're hoping we can keep on this same track and try to meet up in person once a month. Then upcoming, I'm getting ready for my first ever full cross stitch retreat. I've been on a few crafting retreats, but they've been more kind of knitting or crocheting or, you know, that kind of focused. This one is purely for cross stitchers and needlework, and it's going to be so much fun. I'm going to Stitch North, and I am so excited. I'm almost completed with my what is it, your giveaway gift, or your gosh, I don't even remember what it's called. I'm just so excited. But I'm almost done with that. And I will, once I'm completed and put it all together and it's ready to go, before I pack it, I will either take a few pictures or record a small video that I can insert into my next Flosstube. That way you can all see what I had put together for the retreat. It's going to be so much fun, just hours and hours of spending time with like-minded people. I'm very much looking forward to it. Can't wait. So, the final piece that I have to show you is, of course, my anniversary piece. It is coming along. Let's see where we're at with it. It's being stitched on 20. And you know what? I'm going to take off some of the clips and the rolled fabric and all this. It's quite a large piece, but it's good. So, I'm getting towards the edge of my face, right? So here's the edge of my face, and then I think what I'm going to do is this is really hard to hold. Okay, so I'm getting to the edge of my face, so I think what I'll do is the top of a page is right here, so there's a whole section of pages up here, so I might jump up to here next, finish that way, and then come back down here and then finish that way. That's the plan, but it's really nice. I'm happy with the progress that I'm making and the way that it's turning out. Yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I think I'm making the right amount of progress. I don't know, we'll see. But like I said, I'm not gonna stress myself out about it. I'm just really enjoying it, and I think he's gonna like it no matter what. So that's the important part. And so whether I get it done on time or not, or if I get it done and it's not framed, that's okay. At least the stitching part will be done, and we can get it framed together. So that's where I am with my projects. I didn't get as much stitching done as I was hoping to, because there was a couple of nights there that I had to battle a bit of a headache, and so isn't that the worst? You want to stitch, but then something happens and it doesn't allow you to stitch. So instead, I just had to put it aside and kind of rest and let my mind rest a little bit. And that's what I did for a few nights, but then I'm back at it. I know I'm a little late putting this video out, and that's also the reason why, because I had a bit of a headache. But I think we're getting back on track now, and then my next video will be after my stitching retreat. So I'll have some really fun stuff to share, I think, and all the exciting news from the retreat, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I think I am at the end of, I think the last time I checked my rotation wheel, there's only a couple projects left before I get to start all over again. So then we'll start back up at the top of all my projects, and then I'll get to go through all of them. So just as a recap, I've got 5 pieces here. Right here on 18 count is the Golden Promises, and one of my favorites to work on, honestly, I have to say. I really enjoy it. Then all the way over there is QS Sapphire. That is also done on 18. Yeah, pretty sure. Nope, sorry, 22 count. And it is a series of birthstones by Rachel Anderson, and this is the 4th birthstone I'm working on, Sapphire. Then we have Mini Moose Crossing. This one is done on 18 count, and I just love the detail that comes out in this one. Then we have Prelude to a Kiss, which is done on 22 count. That's by Josephine Wall, and a lot of confetti, a lot of detail on this one. Then this one is my QS London piece, 22 count as well, and I'm finally getting to a place where we're finally finished with this little section there, and we're going to move on into this section. Let's see what comes up here. I think there's more of the castle here, more of Ben, and I think there's another building coming up here. So those are my backdrop pieces for today, and I'm looking forward to restarting the rotation wheel, because there's just a couple more projects on there, and then I get to put all of them back on the wheel and walk through them all again. There are a couple of pieces that I was hoping I would make more progress on, like Ganesh and all that, but I really wanted to focus and have this as my one and only focus piece this year, so all of those kind of got put in the regular rotation wheel. Any of my other focus pieces that I've had in the past, because I really wanted to focus on this anniversary piece, and I think it's going to work this year, giving it some focused attention like that, and I kind of like the way that it's developing a lot. So thanks for joining me here this evening for my update, and I can't wait for the next one, because I'm going to have a lot to say. I'm going to have a lot to share about my time away, and then I don't know how much stitching I'll actually have to share, because I hear everyone is just so excited, and there's a lot of talking, a lot of sharing, so I'm not sure how much stitching actually goes on, but either way, I think it's going to be fun. I'm taking my retreat piece again. It's the cross stitch piece that I stitch on only at retreats. What I did was, I think it's a mini meditation from Heaven and Earth Designs, and I created a stained glass look for it. So basically I divided it into sections so that each section represents a particular retreat that I've been to. So that will be the piece that I take to work on. I will take all my work in progresses anyway, just to show everybody who's interested what my variety of work looks like. And so that's my plan. Looking forward to it. Thanks again for joining me here today, and it's been a blast. Bye everyone.